The moon. It's been hanging up there for all of human history, a silent, silver constant in our night sky. It's inspired poetry. It drives the tides. It was the goal of entire nations. We really think we know it, right? Just a dusty, barren rock, our loyal celestial buddy. But what if everything we've been taught about the moon is dead wrong? What if our closest cosmic neighbor isn't a natural satellite at all? What if it's a colossal, ancient observation post, a hollowed-out sphere of metal and rock hiding in plain sight? A handful of strange anomalies, from the way it rings like a bell to its impossibly perfect size and position, has led some people to ask a pretty wild question. Is the moon a giant alien probe? The first and maybe most jarring clue comes from the Apollo missions themselves. Back on November 20, 1969, the Apollo 12 crew intentionally crashed their lunar module into the moon's surface as part of a seismic experiment designed to study the moon's interior. NASA recorded unexpected results. The moon reportedly reverberated, ringing like a bell, for about 55 minutes. Later Apollo missions produced similar readings, with vibrations lasting for over half an hour. Recent published NASA archival photographs also show the lunar surface with highlighted areas of interest, where unusual lights and possible objects appear in the sky, seemingly observing the astronauts. In one image, there appear to be 5 distinct objects of varying shapes and sizes positioned near the lunar surface. For anyone who believes in the spaceship moon theory, the explanation was obvious. A solid chunk of rock doesn't ring, but you know what does? A massive hollow metallic sphere. They argue this was the first real sign that the moon wasn't the solid object scientists had always assumed. It acted more like a giant cosmic gong, hinting at some kind of rigid, maybe even artificial internal structure. Could that ringing be the echo of a vast, empty interior, or even the hum of a metal hull? Now, mainstream science offers a very different explanation. Seismologists point out that the moon is incredibly dry and rigid. Unlike Earth, it doesn't have water or thick air to dampen vibrations. This lets seismic waves travel much farther and last way longer. They argue the moon isn't hollow. Its unique geology just scatters the waves in a way that makes them linger. All the data collected since Apollo points to a solid interior with a thin crust, a huge mantle, and a small dense core. So while it rings, scientists insist it's because of its dry, fractured rock, not a giant cavern. Still, the image of a bell in the sky is a powerful one, and it's just the first of many lunar oddities. Next on the list of strange things about the moon is its density. The moon's average density is about 3.34 grams per cubic centimeter. Earth's, on the other hand, is a much higher 5.5. That might not sound like a huge deal, but it's a significant difference. So, theorists ask, why is the moon so much lighter than it should be? If it broke off from Earth, or was captured by its gravity, you'd expect their compositions to be more alike. To believers in the spaceship moon theory, the answer is simple. It's less dense because it's not solid. They propose the moon is a hollow shell, which would naturally give it a much lower average density than a solid body of its size. This idea was first floated in a big way back in 1970, when 2 Soviet scientists, Michael Vassin and Alexander Shcherbakov, published an article titled, "Is the Moon the Creation of Alien Intelligence?" They basically argued that no natural theory could explain all the moon's weird properties. Their hypothesis was that the moon was once a planetoid that an advanced civilization hollowed out, using massive machines to melt the inside and create huge cavities. That molten rock, they suggested, was then sprayed onto the surface to form the dark seas, or Maria, that we see today. However, science has a strong counter-argument here too. The leading theory for how the moon formed, called the giant impact hypothesis, actually explains its low density perfectly. This theory suggests that about 4.5 billion years ago, a Mars-sized object named Theia slammed into a young Earth. The epic collision blasted a ton of Earth's lighter, outer crust material into orbit, which eventually clumped together to form the moon. Because this was mostly lighter rock, and the dense iron core of Theia likely merged with Earth's, the moon naturally ended up with a small core and a lower overall density. No hollow interior needed. If that's not strange enough for you, let's talk about the perfect solar eclipse. From where we stand on Earth, the moon appears to be almost the exact same size as the sun. Now, the sun is about 400 times larger than the moon, but it's also about 400 times farther away. This incredible coincidence allows the moon to perfectly block the sun's disk during a total solar eclipse, showing us only that fiery corona. For many, This is way more than just a coincidence. It's evidence of intelligent design. Even the legendary sci-fi author Isaac Asimov marveled at how improbable it was, saying there's no astronomical reason for the sun and moon to fit so perfectly. Proponents of an artificial moon ask, what are the chances of that happening by accident? They suggest the moon was deliberately placed in its precise orbit to create this amazing spectacle. Maybe it was a calling card, a signal to whatever intelligent life would one day evolve on Earth that someone or something was watching. The scientific explanation is, admittedly, a bit less dramatic. It's all a coincidence of timing. The moon is actually drifting away from Earth very slowly, at a rate of about 3.8 centimeters per year. Billions of years ago, the moon would have looked much bigger in our sky. In the distant future, it'll look smaller and won't be able to cause perfect total eclipses anymore. We just happen to be living in the brief astronomical window where this perfect alignment is possible. A beautiful, fleeting accident of orbital mechanics. But for some, calling it an accident just doesn't feel like enough of an answer. Okay, that's a lot to take in. A ringing bell in the sky, a suspiciously light body, and a mathematically perfect eclipse. We're laying out the strange anomalies and the scientific explanations. So before we go any further, what's your gut feeling? Let us know what you believe in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this trip into the unknown, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. Recently published Pentagon archival files include an audio recording from December 5, 1965, during NASA's Gemini 7 mission, in which astronaut Frank Borman reported seeing an unidentified object in orbit and relayed the sighting to mission control. The object was never conclusively identified as any known satellite or spacecraft, and the incident remains part of NASA's official mission communications archive.
Gemini Control here again. Earlier in the flight, you'll recall at the start of the second revolution, we had a reference to several objects that the crew spotted. This was in the area of Antigua. Due to a mechanical breakdown, we did not have that portion of the tape available for you. This was a line breakdown between Building 30 and our news center in Building 6. Since then, we have dubbed the tape off the master tape here in the control center, and we are now prepared to play it for you. It contains references to sighting not only some particles, but as well as an unidentified object, plus the booster. Here's that tape. We'll play it for you now.
Gemini 7 here, Houston 98.
Loud and clear. 7, go ahead.
Bogey at 10 o'clock high.
This is Houston. Say again, 7.
So we have a bogey at 10 o'clock high.
Roger. Gemini 7, is that the booster or is that an actual sighting?
What?
Say again, 7.
So we have several, looks like the 3 up there, actual sighting.
You have any more information, estimated distance or size?
And we also have the booster in sight.
Understand you also have the booster in sight, Roger.
And we have very, very many, looks like hundreds of little particles going by to the left out about 3 to 4 miles.
Understand you have many small particles going by on the left. At what distance?
4 miles. Large, looks like perhaps a vehicle that's disintegrated.
Roger, understand they're about 3 to 4 miles away.
They're past now, they're going to polar orbit.
Roger, and understand they were about 3 to 4 miles away.
From the parent line, or further.
Roger. Gemini 7, Houston, were these particles in addition to the booster and the Bogey at 10 o'clock high. Roger.
7, this is, Houston, this is 7.
Go ahead.
I have the booster on my side as a brilliant body in the sun against a black background, and with billions of particles around it.
Roger. What direction is it from you?
It's about at my 2 o'clock position.
Does that mean it's ahead of you?
It's affirmative. Ahead of us, 2 o'clock, slowly tumbling.
Roger.
OS 91. Fox 91. Fox 1. 91, say again.
Chevy Control here again. The reference in that conversation to the third unidentified object, of course, the third object was bogey. There were several references to the bogey. This is the unidentified object, in addition to particles which appear to be headed in a polar orbit, you heard Frank Borman say, plus Jim Lovell discussing the booster. It was Borman who reported sighting the bogey. This is Gemini Control Houston at 4 hours, 24 minutes into the flight.
Beyond those big anomalies, the moon's surface is just plain weird. For instance, the craters. You'd think a massive meteor impact would create a deep bowl-shaped pit, but many of the moon's large craters are surprisingly shallow, with flat or even convex floors. Theorists like Vassin and Sherbakov pointed to this, suggesting that meteors were punching through a soft, rocky surface, but then being stopped by a tough, armored hull underneath. Then you have the lunar swirls, strange, ghostly patterns of light-colored rock. These have puzzled scientists for decades. Recent studies suggest they're linked to leftover magnetic fields in the crust that shield parts of the surface from the solar wind, preventing them from getting a tan over time. Still, their strange, almost painted-on appearance is enough to fuel more speculation. NASA's own Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has found bizarre features too. In 2020, it photographed what looked for all the world like the track of a giant serpent slithering across the surface. Scientists figured out it was most likely a collapsed lava tube, which is a natural formation. But the picture itself is undeniably strange. From mysterious flashes of light seen by astronauts to unexplained magnetic spots, the moon keeps showing us things that defy easy explanation. While science keeps finding natural causes for these phenomena, from old volcanoes to meteor impacts, every new puzzle adds another layer to the moon's mysterious character. Are these all just geological quirks, or are we looking at the weathered ancient features of something much more artificial? So, let's just entertain the idea for a minute. What if the moon really is artificial? That brings us to the ultimate question: why? The theory proposes it's a massive listening post, a hidden base, or an enormous probe. It would be the perfect blind, hiding right out in the open. Its orbit, where one side always faces us, makes it the ideal observation platform. This idea is sometimes called the Watcher hypothesis, and it ties into the Fermi paradox, the question of why we haven't found any evidence of aliens in such a vast universe. Well, maybe we have. Maybe it's been staring down at us for our entire existence. This probe could be dormant, its creators long gone, or it could still be active, monitoring our progress, from our first steps out of caves to our first steps into space. Some even speculate its purpose wasn't just to watch, but to stabilize. The moon's gravity is what keeps Earth's tilt steady, giving us the stable climate needed for complex life to evolve. Was that a deliberate act of cosmic engineering, a way to nurture life on our planet? Even top scientists like Harvard's Avi Loeb, who doesn't endorse the spaceship moon theory, have said the moon would be the perfect place to search for alien artifacts or dormant probes. Its lack of atmosphere and geology would preserve them for millions of years. It's a theory that stretches the imagination, for sure, suggesting technology so advanced, it seems like magic. But as the old saying goes, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So, after all that, is the moon a giant alien probe? The overwhelming scientific consensus is a firm no. Every anomaly, from the ringing to the perfect eclipse, has a plausible, natural explanation backed by decades of data. The evidence strongly points to the moon being a natural satellite born from a violent collision in our solar system's distant past. And yet, the idea persists, doesn't it? It speaks to our desire for mystery, for the universe to be more than just empty space and silent rocks. The spaceship moon theory transforms our closest neighbor from a familiar rock into an object of immense and ancient mystery. It's a grand what-if that challenges our whole place in the cosmos. While science is confident about the moon's natural origin, the questions still linger in the back of our minds. The anomalies are real, even if the explanations for them are debated. And as long as they exist, people will look up at that silver disk in the sky and wonder, what do you think? Is the moon a solid, natural satellite, a product of pure cosmic chance, or could it be a hollow artificial spaceship, a silent sentinel that has been watching humanity for millennia? Let us know in the comments below.